Kyoko Hori, the most popular girl in her class, dresses plainly at home and takes care of housework. One day, Izumi Miyamura, the class loner, discovers her secret when she escorts her younger brother, Sota, home from a nosebleed. Hori discovers that Miyamura wears piercings outside of school and has tattoos, but the two decide to keep each other's secrets. They develop a close bond and friendship with each other as Miyamura continues to visit to play with Sota. During this time, Miyamura accidentally exposes his true appearance in front of Yoshikawa, on his way to help Hori buy eggs during a flash sale. Meanwhile, Toru Ishikawa, a classmate, befriends Miyamura in spite of his feelings for Hori and tells him that he plans on confessing to her. Miyamura puts distance between himself and Hori until she confronts him, upset that he had avoided her to protect her reputation. The two make up, with Hori explaining she rejected Ishikawa. While talking to her mother, Hori realizes she doesn't know Miyamura's first name, and goes through several schemes to learn it indirectly, until Miyamura finally reveals it to her. At school, the student council asks Hori with help on their paperwork. They later accuse her of losing the budget report, but Miyamura proves her innocence by revealing one of the members, Remi, had accidentally dropped it when she bumped into him, as well as headbutting the president, Sengoku. They apologize while Hori reveals that she helped the student council out of guilt. As the students begin their third year, Miyamura gives Hori a CD for her birthday. As Miyamura recalls his dark past, always being alone at school for a class project, Hori, Ishikawa, and Yoshikawa casually form a group with him, and he realizes he has them to call his friends. He confides in Ishikawa, who confirms their friendship. The next day, Remi jokingly suggests to Hori that she is considering dating Miyamura, while Hori becomes defensive over him. After school, Hori and Miyamura compare their hands, and Hori nearly confesses her feelings to him. When Ishikawa confronts Miyamura about Hori, Miyamura denies that she has feelings for him, and they get into an altercation. The two apologize while Miyamura reveals to Yoshikawa that Hori was the cause of their fight. As summer arrives, Sakura falls in love with Ishikawa when she helps pick up her papers she scattered. Hori gives Miyamura ice cream, which he shares with Ishikawa and Sengoku. Hori and Miyamura lose a game among their friends and they are punished for buying drinks for them, with Ishikawa misunderstanding what happened between them. After school, Hori learns that Miyamura only gets flustered and abrasive when talking to Shindo, his middle school classmate. While out in town, she and Ishikawa meet Shindo. Later, Hori falls ill and Miyamura nurses her, learning more about the loneliness she experiences in the process. Believing Hori to be asleep, Miyamura confesses her feelings for her. Sota reports that he saw Miyamura with another girl, unaware that she is Shindo's girlfriend, Chika. Hori becomes upset and avoids Miyamura, culminating in her throwing her textbook at him. When Miyamura arrives at her home to return the textbook, the two apologize to each other. Hori allows Miyamura to explain, but they are interrupted by her father, Kyosuke. Hori confirms Miyamura is her boyfriend and they begin dating. Ishikawa falls into a slump learning about his affirms to Miyamura that they are still friends. Meanwhile, Sakura confides in Remi about her crush on Ishikawa, feeling she is unattractive compared to her, but Remi stands up for her, giving her encouragement. The other students discover Hori and Miyamura are dating after Miyamura spends the night at her house. Concerned about how his reputation is affecting hers, he decides to cut his hair and stop wearing glasses. After school, while Shindo shares candy with Hori and Miyamura, Miyamura kisses Hori for the first time. Later, Miyamura's new look draws attention from the girls, and Honoka Sawada, a first-year student who declares him her rival for Hori's affections. Miyamura learns that Sawada is his next-door neighbor whose brother died a year ago, and he becomes more sympathetic to her situation, developing his own relationship with her. Ishikawa lends Sakura his jersey to hide a stain, and Sakura bakes cookies as thanks. Jealous, Yuki asks Miyamura to help on baking cupcakes, and though they become burnt, Ishikawa encourages her to bake more. Miyamura goes to Hokkaido for 5 days to attend a funeral, and Hori anxiously waits for him to return, especially when his phone runs out of battery. On the day he returns, they tearfully embrace. The girls suggest Hori act docile around Miyamura by pretending she is scared during a horror movie, but she ends up scaring Miyamura. Hori becomes embarrassed, but Miyamura reminds her he loves her for who she is. He spends the night at her house and they consummate. Miyamura has a dream where he meets his younger self and assures himself that he'll meet his friends someday. Remi reminisces on her relationship with Sengoku on the day they met and when Sengoku confessed to her. Miyamura discovers Hori's masochistic side, as she constantly persuades him to hit or yell at her, which he forces himself to do. Meanwhile, Yoshikawa gets asked out by Akane Yanagi, a student from another class, and asks her friends for help, who suggest Toru act as her boyfriend. Yoshikawa declines Yanagi's confession, but despite that, the group accepts Yanagi into their group. Miyamura runs into an old classmate from middle school, Tanihara, who used to bully him. and proceeds to talk down to him some more until he and his friends are beaten up by Hori. She continues to try and pursue Miyamura to be more rough with her, which he reluctantly gives into and accidentally scares Tanihara and his friends. Miyamura meets Mizochi, who was initially cold to him due to him having a crush on Hori, but the two are able to start getting closer together. Tanihara has a dream which reflects on an incident from the past when he blamed Miyamura for the death of their school's rabbits. He visits him at his cake shop where he's received warmly and promises to return. He internally apologizes for his actions. Later, Hori and Miyamura reflect on their middle school days, as Miyamura is now able to look back on it more fondly after getting closer with everyone. Hori gets jealous over how close Miyamura is with Tanihara, Shindo, and the other guys. Sakura becomes devastated when she learns about Ishikawa and Yuki supposedly dating, while Yuki retreats into herself, unsure about how to be honest with her feelings for him. Ishikawa tells her about Sakura confessing to him, but without asking for an answer. He proceeds to cheer Yuki up, talking about all the things he loves about snow, which in Japanese is Yuki, and how excited they are for it to arrive. Sengoku later consoles the grieving Sakura over her rejection. After the group learns Laura has a sister, the boys try to get closer together with Yanagi. Miyamura initially worried about losing his relationships to the guys, but develops a close bond with Yanagi too. Sawada starts to get more comfortable around the boys, but still has trouble around the loud and annoying Laura. After he silent helps her one day, unaware he's sick, she gets worried he hates her. But he's back to his usual self the next day. Laura's sister Makoto is discouraged after her teacher claims she won't be able to get into her high school of choice, but Laura gives her encouragement. On his request, Hori helps to tutor her as they talk to each other. The siblings each internally hope the other doesn't actually hate them. Hori asks Miyamura to join for Christmas dinner, though he says he's unable to due to work, to Sota and Kyosuke's disappointment. Toru talks to Sengoku and Laura about his feelings for Yuki, and despite technically not dating, he feels comfortable with their current relationship. Later she visits his house to play together, where they grow increasingly anxious and embarrassed, even more so being messed with by Ishikawa house caretaker Yashiro. Sengoku is terrified to visit Remi due to his fear of bugs. Hori thinks about what will happen after they graduate high school. On Christmas, each of the characters celebrate relaxing with their family and loved ones. Miyamura visits the Hori household for a short while before leaving for work. On the walk home, Hori tells him that she wants to stay with him even after they graduate, to which he responds by saying they should get married. The two proceed to spend New Year's together as they think about their future. As the end of the school year approaches, the students clean out their lockers. Remi wants to take a trip with the rest of her friends but worries about the potential of them leaving her in the future, which they reassure her they'll all remain friends. Miyamura reflects on what his and the others' school life would have been like if he hadn't inadvertently met Hori. At the graduation ceremony, Miyamura accidentally sneezes, causing a ruckus during Sengoku's speech. He then talks to his past self, declaring that he won't look away from what he used to be anymore. Sawada says his goodbyes to Hori, while Sakura says her thanks to Ishikawa. Yanagi approaches Yuki about the idea of their group all going out for a trip sometime. Kyosuke shows up to mess with Miyamura and Hori, and Makoto appears to walk Laura home and sees her brother's different personality in school. Miyamura and Hori head out together, as he thinks about all the things he loves about Hori, all she's done to help him come out of his shell, and what he can do to show her his thanks. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you in the next one.